Meantime, another grim milestone in Tarrant County where they're reporting a new single-day high, 11 new COVID-19 deaths. And Chris, the governor was in Amarillo today where we've seen the highest rates of infections in the state.
Yeah, in fact, when he was announcing more reopenings last week, he identified Amarillo as a hotspot. That's why he held it back and had Amarillo reopen a week behind the rest of Texas. Ariel Placencia is joining us live, working from home. Ariel, the governor was in Amarillo today. Have things gotten better?
Well, that's what the governor said, Chris. The governor said today at his press conference that Amarillo has, quote, turned the corner when, as you mentioned, just last week, he described the city as a hotspot. Now, just to remind everybody, remember at the beginning of the month, the governor actually sent a surge response team to Amarillo that included members of the CDC and more testing supplies to help out there. The governor said that there are 3 categories that make up what he calls a hotspot, or places where we see a lot of positive COVID-19 cases. That's nursing homes, meatpacking plants, and jails. Amarillo, he says, has all 3. Now remember, the massive JBS beef meatpacking plant is near Amarillo, which was hit extremely hard by COVID-19. And then there's also a Tyson Foods meatpacking plant in Amarillo. Now this afternoon, the governor pointed to new numbers for the city and surrounding areas, and he said that there were over 700 positive cases on May 16th, but 2 days ago on Monday, there were 0.
This makes Amarillo and the region of the Panhandle be a part of the process of allowing Texas to open up our economy. They need help. They need to get back to work. We realize there could be spikes like what we've seen in Amarillo. And so with Nimkid and his team, we're prepared to send in these surge response teams to make sure that we will be able to tamp down any type of flare-up.
Now, the governor went on to say that he does believe and expect that Amarillo will continue on track and partially reopen starting on Friday. Meanwhile, remember yesterday, as for the rest of the state, the governor made an announcement that even more businesses, again, not for Amarillo, but for the rest of the state, can reopen. And we've got a full list of those posted on our website, WFAA.com. Chris?